Alrighty guys, so we're going to start out today's episode with something a little bit different here. It's not so much a review, I would say, although there are going to be review-like elements. I just want to give some commentary on something I saw recently, but this is almost a plea, I would say. Because guys, there's a show that I've been watching that I know some of you have been watching as well, but not many of you, because not many of you are talking about it in the comments or discussing with me. And if you are, let me know, because I would, love to hear that more people are talking and thinking about the show and watching the show. This is a plea. Please, 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 if you have Apple TV Plus, or if you have anyone who'd be willing to, I don't know, show you the show when you're over or something, just if you can find a way to watch the show, please watch Shrinking. Shrinking is a show on Apple TV Plus that I don't think many of you have watched or seen, but it's a show that I think a lot of you guys would love. It is, I would say, Shrinking is one of the best shows on television that I've seen in a long, long time. It is now officially probably in my top 5 shows of all time. And for those of you who don't know, Shrinking is basically, so it's a show that's created by the same creative team behind Ted Lasso, I believe, or with at least Brett Goldstein, who played Roy Kent in Ted Lasso and also was one of the producers and writers on Ted Lasso. He is co-creator of Shrinking. And Shrinking basically follows a couple therapists, or 2 or 3 therapists, as they just explore life together. I won't give away too much because season 1 and season 2 deal with sort of the same things in different ways. But season 1 deals with basically one of the therapists going through a tragic event and what happens when you need, that kind of therapy yourself. What happens when a therapist needs to find his own healing on his own, and the ramifications of what happens, to that therapist, reverberate around many other people around him. On top of that, so it stars Jason Segel and Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford has never been better. Harrison Ford, this show single-handedly is the best Harrison Ford has ever been, in my opinion. And I don't say that lightly, but guys, Harrison Ford shows an incredible amount of range in this show. And for those of you who are saying this show sounds too serious, it sounds too dark and whatever, this show is actually a comedy. It's a comedy with extremely emotional elements, to be sure, but it's a comedy. It's one of the funniest shows that I've seen in a long time as well. Season 2 just wrapped, which is why I'm making this segment, because if you haven't seen season 1, if you haven't seen the show at all, this is a great time to jump on it. You have all of season 1 and all of season 2 at your disposal. The episodes, by the way, I think are perfect lengths as well, about 35 minutes long each, but they're not constricted to it because they're not, constrained to the original television model where each episode had to be either 22 or 44 minutes long or anything like that. It's all just based on what the story needs and what the story is looking for. But guys, Shrinking, it's a show that's so funny and yet so emotional. I find myself every single episode laughing 2 or 3 times out loud, and I also find myself in many episodes just crying. I've genuinely burst out into tears in a couple episodes because of how beautiful the writing is and how beautiful the emotion is. In the finale alone of season 2, for those of you who have not seen the finale of season 2 but have seen the rest of the show or seen some parts of it, the finale has a speech by Harrison Ford, is an all-timer. It just has an all-timer by Harrison Ford at the end of it. And the ending of that episode had me, on the verge of tears. The entire episode in several moments, it was the culmination of a lot of things. And I think this show deserves more praise than it's getting, not necessarily by the critics. I know that the critics generally and genuinely seem to be liking the show a lot and all that, but I think this is a show that could have some mass appeal. Honestly, the reason I didn't want to make this whole review of Shrinking season 2 is just because I don't know that I have much negative to say about it. This is honestly, and I know I've gone on record of saying, perfect TV and perfect art and things like that. Does that really exist? Who knows? That's a whole debate we can have for another day. But in my eyes, for me personally, this is about as close to perfect as you could possibly get. I mean that genuinely. I think this is just about as close to perfect of a show that you can possibly get. It's funny. It's emotional. It shows you the beautiful sides of life, while dealing with them in a way that, yes, is hard and difficult, but also brings light to the joy that life has as well, even in the darkest moments. And Harrison Ford, Jason Segel, Jessica Williams, I believe, is another one of the lead, and just a bunch of other amazing actors are in this show. Guys, if you have not seen Shrinking, I just would implore you. Season 2 just finished up. Again, that's why we're making this segment here. But if you have not seen Shrinking, I would just encourage you to. It is one of my favorite shows of all time, and season 2 was another fantastic season. I heard they're writing season 3, and they're gonna try to finish out the main arcs here before even moving on to a season 4, which they're talking about as well. So excited for that. Can't wait to see that. But guys, have you seen Shrinking? And if not, please check it out. But if you have, let me know what you think about the show in the comments down below.